And we love Nathan Zegura, Browns analyst. He joins us right now on the Fan Hotline. Nathan, welcome to the show, bud.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you.
Well, it's always great to have you here. One, other than the game, how did you find London?
It was good. So we were actually staying about to the northwest of London. That's where the team was staying, but I was able to get in of times, and it's great. Big city, tough to get around, but did have great food. Had a great restaurant, ate at a great place called Brat, and then another place with my good friends at it was called Bombay Bustle, which was incredible Indian food. So yeah, we had a very nice time. I thought the stadium was a great environment, great atmosphere, beautiful stadium, beautiful new stadium for Tottenham Hotspur, and so yeah, that part of it was great. Outcome, not as great.
Well, let's ease into this one gently. We've said fine. We had acceptable. We had adequate. How do you feel like Dillon Gabriel did in his NFL debut yesterday?
Well, Dillon Gabriel became the first quarterback this season to face the Minnesota Vikings and throw for 2 touchdowns. Nobody else has done that. Did not turn the football over against a defense that had a takeaway in 20 of their last 21 games. I thought he managed the game effectively. Would you have wanted to see, us put up 20 points? Of course, obviously. But I thought, Dillon Gabriel did enough for us to win this game. And I thought, especially down the red zone, converting those touchdowns, the one to Harold Fan, the one to David Njoku was, especially one David Njoku, very impressive. So I thought he was, what more could you expect? This is against a Brian Flores defense, kind of on the road in a week where 1 of your 3 days of practice really was wiped out by travel. I thought he did a very nice job. Now, are there things, if we're coming out of a win, we'd say he did everything you wanted. He managed the game, the 2 touchdowns. Where can he improve? We got to get the football down the field. We got to get the passes, more than 10 yards in the air going for this football team. We got to get the ball to our wide receivers at a more effectively. And now some of that's on them with the drops. But I thought overall, though, Dillon Gabriel was everything that you wanted him to be, because we've been saying, let's just play good defense. Let's run the ball. Quinshon goes for his first 100-yard games. Let's have a quarterback who, makes some plays, which he most certainly did, and does not hurt us, doesn't give any short fields, and he didn't do that. So I think that checked the boxes, but, it turns out even winning the turnover battle by 2, in this case, was not enough to win.
Yeah, Nathan, we heard you on the broadcast yesterday. You sounded very passionate and very heated about the Jerry Judy drop. Obviously, then he was only targeted 1 time in the second half. I thought it was a well-placed ball by Dillon Gabriel. How'd you see that drop and that play then as it unfolded?
It's tough. It was a well-placed ball, and it's kind of a little bit on the back hip there, and Jerry Judy went down to get it, and you wish he had been able to come up with it, and I still think Jerry Judy is a very good receiver, and I know because I've seen it happen. This year, just he has not really been able to get on track, and we really haven't been able to get on track as an offense getting the football to our wide receivers. And so that's something that I think is going to have to change going forward. It's just, I think it's frustrating when you're a team, and here's the reality, right? The Browns are a team that has a pretty low margin for error. So when you're 3 of 15 on third down, and you have your best, wide receiver out there, your Pro Bowl wide receiver, you need him to make a play. And, it's happened against Cincinnati. It's happened against Detroit. It happened here, where he has unfortunately not been able to come up with those. I'd still keep giving him the football because you need him. And I think you believe in him that he will make those plays. But, yeah, that was a tough one.
Nathan Zegura, Browns analyst on the Fan Hotline here, talking with the latest Browns loss here. So, big picture on offense. It did look, by the way, in fairness, it looked more functional than it had in the previous few weeks here. What are the immediate, most fixable things on offense to take that next step in functionality or better?
Well, you got to stop with the penalties. You had 10 penalties. Did the Browns? 6 were on the offensive line, 5 on the left tackle position alone. That's got to get cleaned up. And then, you go into Dillon Gabriel's numbers and you dive into him. He did great against when he was under pressure, had a quarterback rating well over 100. He did great against the blitz. We've got to become more efficient when he's operating from a clean pocket. That's what you really didn't see in that game. I think just over 5 yards an attempt. We've got to get that number way up. So I think that's something that you can do. And then, we got to continue to run the football. I think we need to stretch, even if it's not, you're just kind of throwing it and it's not necessarily a completion. We've got to throw some verticals and loosen up some of these defenses because, it's hard to operate in a compressed field. That's why operating in the red zone is so difficult at times because it's a compressed field. And the Browns offense, it feels like, is playing in a very compressed field right now. But you got to love what you're seeing from Quinshon Judkins. He gets better every single week. And this one really should have had about 180 yards and a touchdown. Penalties robbed him of about 70 yards and a score. I think that he's incredibly impressive. And then the other thing, it's just, if you're going to be that reliant on the run, it's the little things. On the 3rd down and 1 from about our own 10-yard line, to play we'd run earlier in the game. And on this time, the wide receiver split was a little too wide. Jonathan Grenard was able to get inside, chase that down from the backside, and stop Quinshon Judkins short. And then, the other areas, when you're in situational football, you've got to be better. So 3rd down, 3 of 15, that's not going to cut it in the National Football League. And then when you get the ball back with 4 minutes, the other team should not get the ball back. And that drive where you run into, they had 6 defensive linemen on the field, 9 guys on the box. I think, you got to maybe try and be a little more aggressive. We got to play action pass on 1st or 2nd down there because you run. And then on 3rd down, I have no problem trying to throw for the 1st down and being aggressive there. But it's almost got to be, hey, Dillon, either complete this pass or go ahead and just take a knee, take a sack, and force them to either use, the final timeout or get 40 seconds off this clock, which could have been a big deal at the end of the game.
If you had to guess, what do you think happened in that play? Do you feel like that was what it was drawn up to be, or the direction maybe was different?
Yeah, on which play? The third down?
3rd and 11, yeah.
Yeah, I think that it just either was a little bit of miscommunication or maybe he was a little rushed. But Dillon, I'd also kind of felt like in watching some of them where it was, look, we're going to end every drive with a kick. So if you don't feel really good about it, just kind of airmail it, throw it out of bounds, and we'll go ahead and punt it. It almost kind of looked like that because there were multiple misses in the game where it was clear that they were kind of more throwaways than they were errant passes.
Nathan, I will say that was a deflating loss as a fan because it was right there and it was 3rd down. Yeah. It was, all the things you've talked about here. You're 1-4 now. How do you pull the nose up on this, not just with Pittsburgh, but with a little easier fare going on after it?
You got to continue to do some of the things that you did in that game, right? You still got to play good defense. And I know we have the number 1 defense, and yes, they went 80 yards on them. And you want your defense to be able to hold up in that situation. That would be fantastic. But they were not able to hold up in that situation. You got to score more than 20 points. Got to keep winning the turnover battle. Keep feeding the ball to Quinshon Judkins. And you've got to somehow unlock, the chunk plays. Because it's too hard in the NFL to go on 12, 13, 14 play drives. You've got to unlock the chunk plays. And yes, you can get them in the run game. And we certainly have seen that in the past with Nick Chubb. And we're seeing that right now with Quinshon Judkins. He has more 30-yard rushes, than we have 30-yard pass plays this season. But you need those to come from the passing game. And that's, I think, something the Browns, that they've got to unlock that if they want to take care of business. And special teams has got to be at least a net neutral, which it has really only been in 2 of the 5 games this season. That's got to continue as well.
Nathan, you'd mentioned a little bit about the game that Quinshon had and how positive that was. What do you think when you see Quinshon run? Is there any comps or anyone you have that immediately darts out to you? And what do you think exactly the ceiling could be for someone like Quinshon?
Yeah, first of all, I think he has a chance to be one of the top rushers in the league. I think he has a top to be, Pro Bowler, All-Pro, all of the things that, Nick Chubb was for us. I'm going to throw a comp out at you guys and see what you think about it. It occurred to me in the broadcast watching him run in this game in London. He kind of reminds me of Le'Veon Bell a little bit. Runs a little upright. He kind of has some of those where he slow plays it into the hole, and almost there's one where he did come to a stop, and then his ability to identify where he wants to go and hit that acceleration, to me, reminds me when Le'Veon Bell was, one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the NFL. He's got the burst to the outside. He's got the home run hitting ability, but his ability to kind of come in and hop into a run, kick his hole, and go is special, and I love watching him run.
Nathan, obviously, left tackle. We saw a little bit of Leviston. We saw a little bit of Cam Robinson. Do you think we should expect that tag teaming at left tackle to continue?
No, I think you make a trade for Cam Robinson, who started over 100 games in his career, to be that guy. I think, he comes in on a short week. I mentioned with the travel to London, not able to get a ton of reps there, and so that would be my guess as to why we saw it go the way that it went. But I think Cam Robinson will, with a full week of practice, likely, and I could be wrong about this, but my guess is he was brought here to be the left tackle.
Nathan, one other positive I want to ask you about. Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire, Malik Collins all look spectacular in this. It's weird because the defensive line, and I mean, everyone in the defense, a lot of people did their part, but those three in particular I thought really stood out.
Yeah, they've been playing really, really well. Malik Collins now 3.5 sacks this season, just trailed Miles by 0.5 sack. Alex Wright and Isaiah McGuire are big guys that have played really well for the Browns at times, and you're seeing their continued ascent. So you've got young guys still on rookie contracts in the case of those two defensive ends. Now Wright's in the last year of his rookie deal, but that are playing well. And what I really love, some of them got caught at one point, peeking in and then gave up the edge. And when the Vikings went back to try to test them on that again, they both answered that and made big defensive plays, got stops, got off the field. So, yeah, very encouraged by them. There's a lot to like in general. I think Grant Delpit's playing great football. Swetser's playing very well. Devin Bush is playing very well. Greg Newsome, I think, is having an unbelievable season. Miles Harden is holding up because there were multiple plays in this where they used late motion, just like the Lions did the week before, to get Miles one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. And for the most part, Miles Harden more than held his own against, I think, the best receiver in the NFL. So there's a lot to like about this defense right now. You just need to come through on that final one and seal this here, and hopefully they'll be able to do that when presented with that opportunity again.
Nathan, great stuff as always, buddy. Appreciate you, and welcome back home.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks, guys.
Nathan Zegura there, Browns analyst on the Fan Hotline.